Show. We got team 5658 from Stephen Argyle, and they are the Storm Robotics, and mentor is Sean Romensky. And joining us here from team 5658, we got Wyatt, also Kellen, Warner, Broden, Lane, Alex, and Kylie. So thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate it. And Wyatt, we're going to start with you, and I'll just kind of ask the question. And once Wyatt is done, then everybody can go after him, or I guess after Wyatt, it would be Kellen next. So, Wyatt, why don't you talk about how your club is going so far this year for you guys?
We've been doing good. We've been working on a robot. Our first competition in Grand Forks. It went good after we got our programming figured out and just some little quirks with the robot. Had a couple problems, but we solved them and it worked good. But
Kellen?
um, I think we've got it figured out here for the next competition. We after that competition, we had to fix some things and some improvements we needed to make, and that competition went pretty well, I think. Better than previous years. We got our programming done way faster. Thanks to a lot of help, and yeah.
Warner?
The season started out, I think, pretty iffy, but as we went along, we started learning all of the tasks necessary to get this robot to do what we want. So when we got to competition, we were ready. We got everything situated, and I think we performed pretty well at the competition. So moving forward, we can use our success as a stepping stone for this next competition.
Broden?
Yeah, I think we did pretty good at the last competition. Maybe we didn't place very good, but we played pretty good. Did most things pretty well, I think.
Lane?
I think we did pretty good. There was a few issues we had, so I think we did pretty good.
And Alex?
I think we did pretty good. We did have a few challenges with a couple of problems. We have a few challenges with a couple of things in the coding, but we did end up having some help. And right now, we're just trying to fix a couple. We're just fixing and tweaking a couple of things in coding within our. We're hoping to get a higher place this next competition.
And Kylie?
I think we did all right. We had to scrap a few things, and our programming was kind of but we had help from other teams, so it was fun.
All right, awesome. Thank you. And then Wyatt, let's talk about, so you're getting ready now for, what's your next competition here?
The Granite City Regional in St. Cloud.
And when is that?
Be coming on April 3rd next week.
How many have you participated in already this year?
Only one competition.
Okay. So let's talk about each of your roles. So Wyatt, you're up first.
I'm one of the main builders for the robot. And I drive.
Okay.
I'm also a builder. I find that pretty fun since I come from a farm and I'm the coach, so I kind of have to tell them how much time is left, tell them when they need to do something, and how fast you need to do this till you get to the next part.
I'm a programmer. It was a big job trying to get everything situated and everything, but in the end, it turned out well, I think. I'm also a human player now for this next competition. So that's going to be another fun challenge.
I'm the builder. Also the driver. I control the main functions and of the robot.
Lane?
I'm a builder and technician for this next upcoming robot or competition.
Lane, you might have to repeat. Lane, you might have to repeat. Our internet's kind of in and out. So Lane, if you can repeat, I didn't catch a thing you said.
I'm the builder and technician for the upcoming event that we're going to.
Okay, Alex.
I am a programmer, tweak the stuff in the code. That's really it.
And Kylie.
I'm also a programmer, and my role is media.
Okay, Wyatt, let's start with let's talk about some goals for your club and for yourself, maybe, at the next meet and overall this year.
Some goals. We want to place higher in the next competition. Hope we do better and get lots of practice in when we get there because last competition we didn't have very much practice because of our issues we had.
Kellen?
A goal for me, for our team, I think that we have a good enough robot that we can place top 30. And I think that if we get enough practice, or once we get enough practice, I think we can do that quite easily. I think our robot is pretty good actually this year, thanks to a lot of help programming and everyone just learning what they need to do and how fast they need to do it. And go for next year. I think we can get our programming done before the competition next year.
Warner?
I think a goal this year should be getting our robot driving skills down, just so we can perform perfectly. And another goal is to really communicate with our other teams when we're on a different alliance, just to get our game plans down. We'll always have a plan.
Roden?
I think our goal would be get top 30 in the next competition. Practice before the game. Get better at driving and scoring.
Lane?
Some goals for this year would probably get more practice and place higher.
Alex?
I think some of the goals that we can achieve is get a higher place, maybe communicate a little bit more with some other teams and help us out a little bit. And increase our driving skills and hopefully get more forward on reach.
And Kylie?
With them, I do wish we could place top 30, and I hope that this time we could get our programming all figured out at not last second.
Okay, so let's talk about the robot, and anybody can chime in. He's sitting right there, so maybe someone can kind of describe what we're seeing.
So this is our robot. In the front here, this is where we mainly put our pieces of coral and store these on that L1 of the reef. And this just opens up, drops them out. Which will pull out like that. And then we have our climber for hooking onto the cage. And then that will up here clamps on to hold onto the cage, and then when we bring it back down, it lifts the rest of the robot up. And it's basically the two main functions of it.
Cool. And you got some pretty cool lights and everything?
Yeah, we got LED lights on the bottom of our robot here and around our drive station.
Did you give him a name?
His name is Felipe.
Felipe. Okay. All right, sounds good. So now until St. Cloud, what are you going to be working on? And I guess, first of all, when do you meet? Maybe how often you meet? And what are you going to be working on during the meetings?
So we usually meet after school, and we have been since our last competition, and we've got a lot of stuff fixed and tweaked and improved, and now we mainly just need to practice for our next competition.
So are you mostly like what kind of technical aspects do you have to put into the robot? Any programming, like that kind of thing? Maybe talk about that. Whoever wants to chime in on that one.
We had to get these cameras down. We had to program them in there. We didn't have them for our last competition. We just put them in there. So we have the right views and stuff that we need to see. Um, we just put this motor in, if you can see it, through after our last competition. Before we had pneumatics, and that didn't really quite work. So we just put this motor in, got it wired up. Our programmer programmed it right up for us, and now it works pretty well.
Awesome. And how many members are in your team?
We have 14 members in our team.
How many years has the robotics club been going there in Stephen Argyle?
10 years.
10 years. Okay. Anything after St. Cloud? What's after that?
That's our last competition for the year.
So nearing the end then, right?
Yep.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Anybody else have anything to add? Wyatt, anything else to add today?
I do not.
Kellen?
Thank you guys for watching, and then thank you for having us on here, and tune into the Twitch stream at St. Cloud. Watch us perform.
Warner?
Yeah, just thanks for having us for this interview.
Roden?
Thanks for having us.
Lane?
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Kylie?
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right. All right. Sounds good. Well, thank you for being on. We appreciate it. So good luck at St. Cloud, and we wish you well and hope everything goes well. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
you bet. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
At Enbridge, we're focused on relationships. 23 Canadian First Nation and Métis communities now own an equity stake in Enbridge Athabasca Pipelines. In Minnesota, Enbridge has spent $450 million and counting with Native-owned companies and in wages to tribal members working on Line 3. Every day brings new collaborations, partnerships, and possibilities. Learn more at Enbridge.com.
I'm Molly, and I have lived here a little over 3 years now. I like the open spaces here and being able to go in and out. I like the fact that I don't have stairs or elevators. I just have most everything that I need close at hand.
Gordon Construction of Mahnomen is a Native American-owned business proudly operating on the White Earth Indian Reservation since 1983. As a bonded general contractor, Gordon Construction provides years of experience in large, detailed, and within-budget projects. Gordon Construction is committed to the safety of its employees and the environment of its work sites. To learn more about Gordon Construction of Mahnomen, visit gcmahnomen.com or call 218-935-2191.
And welcome back to the YLE Robotics Show. We're talking with Brady Boardwell, the mentor for the Team 8422 Pillager Husky Howlers. How you doing today?
Not too bad. How are you?
Pretty good. So how do you feel? Let's see. So you guys got St. Cloud coming up next week, right?
Yep, correct.
How do you feel going into next week?
I feel pretty good. We were able to practice this weekend in Alexandria. They have a field set up over there at Brenton Engineering. And we worked through lots of different issues and figured out, where we have our weak points and what we have to work on this week. So I feel pretty confident.
What are some of the things you guys are going to work on this week?
So, for example, in Duluth, we were just exclusively an algae robot, and an algae robot that couldn't score in the barge. We still made it work. We kind of worked around ranking points. We worked our way into to be an alliance captain. But this week, I'm sorry, between competitions, we added a little flywheel to our intake. So we allowed to make it where we were able to make a shooter. we have to work through a little bit of bugs with that. Like, for example, the shaft was a little bit long. So when we tried to climb in Alexandria, it got caught. And then usually we're just able to lower our climber and get out, but it got caught between that and the shaft and it snapped our little winch. So we know we got to shorten that shaft, for example. And yeah, we're trying to get autonomous working perfectly. I think it's like mostly there. Um, what else we got to work on? I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, otherwise we drive pretty solid and just shoring up all of our connections and yeah.
Out of all that, as far as things you just told me you guys are going to work on this week, what is the hardest thing to like the hardest piece that to try if something breaks, what's the hardest piece to try and repair?
Sure. I think, I mean, we kind of built everything pretty like replaceable, I guess. Like nothing. I think the another thing I forgot was that our we have a little thing extending arm that is going to, we used to clean off the algae. It just got a little flywheel on the end of it. We got to replace the springs on that one. So we didn't have heavy enough springs. We had these like tension springs on it to get it to go up, and then we have a winch to bring it down. The springs actually themselves need to be replaced, and we have to come up with a whole new system for that, or like a whole new bracket for that because it's a different size. So that'll probably be the biggest headache this week, now that I think about it.
Um, so how long have you been the mentor for the Husky Haulers for
This
this
is this is my first year. So first year, coaching. So
So what got you into robotics?
so my dad is the mentor for Brainerd, 2503. He started that 18 years ago when I was 10 years old. So I got to kind of like, bus over and do it with the big kids, for a long time. And then when I was in high school, I did it all 4 years myself. And then I've been mentoring on and off for the last 10 years or so for Brainerd. So.
So you kind of learned a lot from your dad then on how to mentor the robotics team. And
Oh yeah, definitely.
um, so how many hours per week do you think you guys spend working on the robot right now?
Okay. Let's see. Between between Duluth and St. Cloud, we've kind of gone down to 4 days a week. We go Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then all day Saturday. We usually put in like an 8 to 10 hour day on Saturday. And I kind of told myself that we wouldn't be here till 10 o'clock every night, but we ended up being here till 10 o'clock every night. So that's about 6 hours a day. So, between 20 and 30 hours a week, probably. Uh, so yeah, it
Um,
takes a lot of time.
oh yeah, no, I bet so has there been any major hurdles you guys have had to climb over this year at all?
Um, I think our biggest hurdle was programming Swerve Drive. Our senior this year had done a few subsystems before, but I didn't know this even. I was actually very impressed when I found this out. Apparently, she hadn't done any programming other than, like I said, a few subsystems just helping out last year. But she was brand new to it, and this is the first year we had Swerve, so she figured that out all on her own. Um, and she was actually waiting around on us, the mechanical team. So I've never had that happen on a first team before.
Well, what is your favorite thing about being the mentor for this robotics team?
Uh, I like I like seeing the look on kids' faces when they realize they can do something or they did that. Like, a handful of kids have never used like a Sawzall before, right? Or have never cut anything or used a grinder or anything like that. And I tell them to go do it, and well, I don't know how to do that. Well, all right, well, I'll show you. And then they can do it, and then you ask them like, how does it feel knowing that you built that, like you did that? And usually it's a pretty positive reaction. Um,
So a lot of the members on the team, the students, what are some of the things that if they could use? It takes a lot of different skills to, program, the robot and everything. Can they use some of those skills in their future endeavors, like in a career, so forth? Or
yeah, most definitely. First and foremost, for everyone, programming or whatever you learn, it's problem solving, right? Like we are going to solve this problem. Like just have the attitude of, it's going to take time. We're going to test and make it work, but problem solving is universal for everything. So I think that's number one. Specifically programming, yeah, that's becoming more and more of a thing in the modern world. Like everything has some sort of programming. So yeah.
So yeah, this is your first year coaching the Pillager Husky Howlers, and so I guess do you feel that this team this year is a good solid team? I mean, I guess yeah, I guess you didn't see the team last year, or did you have a chance to watch the team last year at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, I watched the team. I actually, I had some of the previous members of the team that were my mentors this year, and more of the coaches last year. I actually had them in class, my other job, so I had them as students. So I was, very invested. They came in as a group. 6 of them came from Pillager, all as a group. They came over and went to school together. So it was kind of fun to see. So yeah, I've been slowly learning the lore of the team, of their story. They started it 6 years ago, and so this is kind of like their last season before they kind of go off and do more school or do big, their adult jobs. So it's been kind of a fun story arc for them and for me to learn that too. So
What is your favorite thing about competition?
I love the energy. Like personally, that's something that has always amazed me. And then what I tell to everyone who doesn't know about FIRST is that like those competitions, especially specifically Duluth, it is just kind of an arena full of very passionate kids. Like everyone is there and ready to have a good time, and no one judges anyone, and everyone's there screaming their heads off for their teams, and it's like a real sporting event. It more so than people would think.
Is there a favorite team that you guys like to watch at competition?
I think the kids would have like a great answer for you for that one. I pretty much just am amazed at like pretty much everything. I just the whole idea of everyone. I don't really have any specific ones. Like, I mean, there's obviously like some more famous teams like Nightcrawler, for example, and like Apple Core and like some of those teams that I've known for a very, very long time. Just seeing them at competition, but I mean it. Every year that some teams usually surprise me at being very impressive. So yeah, there's your long answer.
So so you guys are going to St. Cloud next week. What's the thing that you're looking forward to the most about next week?
On a personal note, I'm excited to coach. Brainerd is also going, so it'll be kind of like a father-son thing, in a different way. I've been on that from different, just being tagging along as like a little kid to being on the team to tagging along as a mentor, and now I'm kind of like a rival coach. So that'll be fun. But honestly, just seeing how we do. I'm very, very impressed with this group. Like, I would answer yes, this is a really, really solid group. And I'm excited to, hopefully get them better than before. That's what we're trying to shoot for, right? Hopefully we did great in Duluth, and hopefully we do better. I mean,
all right. Well, I wish you guys the best of luck next week. And we're talking with mentor Brady Boardwell for the Pillager Husky Howlers. We'll be right back with the YLE Robotics Show right after this.
Looking for a bank that truly cares about your financial well-being? That would be the First National Bank of McIntosh. Their experienced staff is dedicated to providing exceptional customer service and helping you find the right financial solutions for your needs. From personal to business banking services, they have everything you need to take control of your money. Plus, their commitment to the local community means that your money stays where it matters, right here in McIntosh. Trust First National Bank of McIntosh, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
In today's competitive market, your company needs a manufacturing partner that can deliver high-quality products, on-time delivery, and unmatched expertise. Team Industries of Bagley has been a leading provider of precision machining and manufacturing services for over 50 years. Whether you need custom-made parts, precision engineering, or complete assembly services, Team Industries of Bagley can help you take your manufacturing to the next level. Visit their website today to learn more about their capabilities or give them a call to schedule a consultation. At Winnie Mac School, we're shaping the leaders of tomorrow with dedicated teachers, a strong sense of community, and opportunities to excel in academics, arts, and athletics. We strive to give every student a chance to succeed. From kindergarten through high school, we offer a supportive environment where students can grow, learn, and discover their full potential. Together, we're building a brighter future. Join the Winnie Mac family, where education and community go hand in hand at the Winnie Mac School.
And the Your Live Event Robotics Show continues here on Your Live Event, here with a couple members of Team 3102, the Techno Tigers out of Nevis. And before we hop into things, you guys just kind of want to give a quick introduction for yourself, your role on the team, and yeah, just kind of a quick little overview of who you are.
Oh, well, hi, I'm Kat. I am our captain of build, and I'm also our pit crew captain, so when the robot breaks, it's my fault and I have to fix it.
My name is Brennan. I am like the head manufacturing guy. So a lot of the plastic and some of the metal you see on the robot was ran through me. And I'm also the human player.
And I'm one of the mentors, Olaf Netteberg, and have been a mentor with 3102 for 17 years.
Okay. And first things first, I know you guys have a big event coming up. You guys are taking a big trip down to Louisiana. Want to tell us a little bit more about the trip?
Well, we are leaving on Monday next week, and we're going to drive down to Iowa first, and then we're going to do the rest of the haul the next day. And we're meeting up with Iron Mosquitoes,
53.
Out of Babbitt, Minnesota?
Yes.
56, 53.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we're going to go down with them, and it's going to be a blast.
Okay.
Last year we were down in Arkansas. We've been in Arkansas the last couple of years and met wonderful people down there. And just kind of spontaneously were invited and said, hey, you should come to the Bayou. It's great. You know, it's a lot of fun. And we didn't think much of it. And driving home and talking, I was like, you guys want to do it? It's like, yeah. So we reached out in the fall and said, were you serious about we should come down? And I said, absolutely. Then we threw out neighbors in Northern Minnesota Robotics Conference who said, hey, we're pulling a trailer to New Orleans. If anybody wants to throw their gear in with us and sign up for the Bayou. And the Mosquitoes took us up on it. So we'll have their gear and our trailer. And yeah.
What are you guys looking forward to most about competing down there?
I'm looking forward to competing with a lot of world-class teams that go to Worlds regularly. There are a bunch of teams that have already been to Worlds. And I'm kind of curious on how we compare on a scale of like, are we, can we hang with them? Are they better than us? It's just kind of just a thought process for me.
Yeah. And we've got people we know down there, but there are going to be a ton of teams there that we also have never met before. And that's one of my favorite parts is finding all these new people from a bunch of different places. There are going to be teams from Mexico and Brazil and Turkey.
And 7 other states in the U.S.
Yep.
So it's just going to be just like a mishmash of all these different cultures. And that's one of my favorite parts is people.
One of those things where you guys think you guys have a long travel a day ahead of you.
Yeah.
Turkey, that's quite a distance.
Yeah. All these people, imagine how much shipping must be to ship your robot and a pit in a plane. It's crazy.
A number of these international teams come to the States and compete in week 6 events, and then they just kind of hang out prior to the World Championships. And so this Turkey team, I haven't looked, but I would imagine they're competing in Houston just a few days later. So when you do these week 6, is that especially down when you start talking south central part of the nation, they use it as additional practice, and since they're making the trip, it adds on to their experience.
What about just Louisiana in general? Is there anything you guys are looking forward to just in being able to, visit Louisiana in terms of just not robotics?
I have grown up on the movie The Princess and the Frog like my entire life, and I've always wanted to like put a beignet in my mouth that is like been authentically cooked. So that was one of my big pushing points was I want to eat a beignet. Let's go to New Orleans.
I'm not exactly excited for New Orleans. Don't get me wrong. I'm excited for New Orleans, but I'm actually more excited for the drive down there. That's when a lot of the fun stuff happens because sometimes we'll stop at an obscure town in a random state, and it's like, oh, this is actually pretty fun. And it's really nice to talk with everyone while you're going down there.
Especially when you're stuck in a van with them for 28 hours. You learn a lot of stuff about people.
Each way.
Yeah.
Each way.
Yeah.
Yep. Being our students, so in Nevis, in our proximity to the headwaters of the Mississippi, these guys grew up at the headwaters of the Mississippi on elementary field trips. It's our last day of school for every single elementary grade. And so they've walked across the rocks so many times, it's not a big deal. And what we've discovered as we travel throughout the nation, especially as we travel south, the significance of the river as we go down. And without actually traveling, experiencing it, spending time, you kind of overlook that. It's like it's in our backyard, it's in Mississippi, whatever. So one of our team activities on Wednesday, we are going to visit the furthest southernmost town on the Mississippi River. And so we did our team photos this year at the headwaters in January in t-shirts, and we'll do team photos at the other end of the river next week. So pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Fun thing you'll be able to say is Nevis, where's that? And then you could just say, yeah, follow the river about a couple states up. We're at the other end of it.
This will give me an excuse to save a lot of time on explaining where we are. I'm just going to say,
Yeah.
go to the top of the river.
Yeah, head upstream.
Take a
Couple
kayak.
miles and miles.
And in terms of just the season overall, how's the season going so far for you guys? I know we've seen you guys at a couple different events already. How's it going for you guys so far?
I'm pretty happy with where we're at. Our robot is a lot better than I was expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be good, but I wasn't expecting her to run as well as she does. Sorry, I gender the robot. Our driver had an issue at Grand Forks, so I had to drive it, and we did shockingly well with a driver who had 2 hours of drive experience. So I'm pretty okay with that. Yeah, I'm really excited for New Orleans because I feel like we're making changes to our robot now. We're gonna hopefully have a functional climb at that point. So I think we're gonna be a lot more point heavy than we were. So I'm just excited.
I'm also excited. I kind of had high expectations because okay, we put in the time, we've had to pull 12-hour shifts on Friday nights to actually get this thing functional, only to find out it was overweight the next day. And so we've cut a lot of weight, but this thing actually works really well, way better than I thought it would. And I'm kind of excited to see how she runs in Louisiana.
We do have a group of 7 seniors who've been with the team for quite a while, and their ownership on the robot and their motivation and their drive has been very impressive. Kat referenced that she had to step up and drive the robot. Our driver, Alex, she's had an issue. He got sick. I'm sorry, you're puke sick. You're not driving the robot. And that happened at the event. And so it was like, oh my gosh, what now? And a big pat on the back to Kat. She's like, I'll do it. And went in cold, and the team rallied around it. It wasn't like doom and gloom and, oh no, we're done. It was like everything she did, even slightly good, was a huge win. And the momentum, and all of a sudden it was just like, oh, well, who's our driver now? So very proud of our seniors and their ownership, their understanding. They got a lot of robots under their belts. And like anything, if you have a senior heavy basketball team, we have a senior heavy robotics team, and they're all key players. It's not just, there's ownership.
It's a little bit worrying because we have 7 seniors, and then we have 1 junior, and then 2 sophomores, and then 9th and 8th grade. boom. So we have all of our seniors just adopting underclassmen and trying to shove as much of our skill set into them as possible so the team doesn't flounder. I wouldn't say that our team is going to do bad next year, but it's definitely going to be an adjustment. So
Rebuild year.
we're trying to make that as easy as possible.
Yeah.
Now you guys mentioned you had some weight problems with the robot. Sounds like you guys weren't the only ones, as didn't they actually cut down the weight of the robot this year from last year?
By 10 pounds.
Wouldn't think that's a lot, but when you're actually getting down to it, I think so. We pulled a 12-hour shift the night before week 0, wired the whole robot at the event, and then next day we realized we were like 15 pounds overweight.
It was 18.
18. And when you like get to that moment where they drop 10 pounds, it's like, okay, I have to like start saving on materials. This can't be as big as I want it to. I can't do this even though it would work really well because it's too heavy and it's just a big mess.
We had her stripped down to a bare chassis 10 days before Great Northern. And we rebuilt the elevator, we put everything back on it, and we were 15 pounds on the dot. Or 115
Yeah,
pounds.
115.
115 pounds, which is the weight limit.
And
Great.
then we got to rebuild the elevator again, which is what some of the people out are doing right now.
And when you look at a robot and it's like we have to trim 18 pounds, kind of where does it start? What are some areas that you may be having to take off, or what materials are you going to have to start using to maybe get down to that weight?
So we had our entire elevator built out of solid, what was it? 3/16.
It was 1/8-inch wall tubing.
Yeah.
1x2 1/8-inch wall aluminum tubing.
Yeah. Which
Yeah.
is heavy.
Which is heavy. Works good.
Yeah. And we had just these sheets of solid polycarbonate. So what we did is we cut a bunch of holes in the polycarbonate. We cut a bunch of holes in the outside of our elevator mast to save on weight. And then we rebuilt our elevator out of pre-punch 16th inch wall extrusion. So we lost a lot of weight there.
And what do you guys like about your guys' robot this year?
She's pretty.
So at the start of the season, I was like, oh, another tilt mechanism. Because last year we kind of had a weird tilt mechanism with some pneumatics and it worked. It didn't work at all. So it's kind of cautious, but I honestly think now that's my favorite thing. Because we have a whole fish hook right here, kind of is what we call it. And so we can intake algae and score it on this side. And then below that, we can score the coral. And the tilt mechanism actually allows our fish hook to drop to the ground and pick up off the ground, and it is surprisingly efficient. You think we'd just be kicking it around the field the whole match, but it actually takes it up, and it might be my favorite part about the robot.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, you guys were the bobber team too, weren't you?
Yep.
Was that inspired by the fish hook?
So every year we name our robots something Bob themed. It's our 2 robots that went to Worlds have been Bob Ross and Astro Bob. And we're just like, okay, the second the game teaser happened last year and it was like kind of water themed, we're like, okay, I don't care. It's the robot's going to be named Bobber. And that was just before the season was even a thought. The robot was named Bobber.
Didn't even know what it was going to look like.
Yeah.
Bobber.
And how did you guys create the whole get up? I know you guys stand out at events pretty well. You have the bright colors, the Zubas, you had, I think it was custom earrings, different things like that. How did that all start in terms of branding?
It was mostly our mentor's part over here because he loves being different and standing out from everyone else. Because a lot of teams at events were like red, blue, black, and then you have us and some other teams that are just wearing highlighter colors, and that kind of allows us to stand out and get our actions seen more.
Mm-hmm.
And the Zubos was like, I think it was most of it like, oh, it's green and white and it's funny and outrageous, so we'll do it.
Yeah.
And the bobbers were more of a robots named Bobber, and we wanted some cool earrings to stand out, so we just bought 2 new 3D printers this season, so you might as well test them by making a bunch of bobber earrings.
And I kind of wanted to learn CAD anyways, and I was like, you know what would be a great first project? This very simple shape that is going to be this big. So that's just what I did one day is I taught myself how, and then we just popped it on the printer and made an obscene amount of pairs of them. Yeah.
And then the water theme carries into our impact team. And so our whole theory, again, if you're familiar with Minnesota geography, we have we have a lot of lakes. You know, we're a vacation community, we're a tourist community. And so our whole theme, and again, because we're traveling throughout the nation, you know, we're coming from Minnesota, we're the land of 10,000 lakes. We know water. And our impact speech and our impact presenters is, you know, some people dip a toe in the water, we cannonball. And we cannonball in everything we do. And our objective is to make a big splash. So that's our logo this year, is making a big splash. And our student who did our graphics for our clothing this year, she designed it. So it's there's our O of our 3102 is a bobber, and then there's a big splash of water, and it just carries throughout everything we do, is making a big splash.
I know while we're on the topic of standing out, another way you guys stand out at events, you guys are very loud in the stands.
Oh, that's him. Oh, that's him.
So actually, the backstory behind that is this guy. This is my 4th year on the team. So my first regional was in 2022 for Rapid React in Duluth. I was sitting in the stands, minding my business, scouting, you know, like a normal person does. This guy comes out of nowhere from the pits and says, "Hey, you're loud. This is how you cheer." So I became the cheerleader ever since then. And since I was promoted to human player this year, I was like, okay, no one's really as loud as me, no offense, but I'm really loud. So I question boxed the head referee day one. I was like, can I start the cheer from the field? And then I did, and all the volunteers loved it. Some of them joined in on it. And another thing is that contributes to our loudness is I made the mentors buy us a megaphone, because like, okay, some teams we can't compete with because they have more people than we do. So I said we should buy a megaphone. So I went on this, you know, like lifeguard website, and I was like, you know, this is a nice megaphone. It was a white megaphone. They got it in their graphic designer, and then there was a data leak the next day. So we kind of sacrificed a credit card to get a megaphone, but it was worth it.
Yes. So we have a 3-foot
It's
megaphone.
seriously this big.
A lifeguard stand and some Ocean Beach.
Yeah.
Which also contributes to the water theme.
Which is the water theme, making a splash.
What do you think a New Orleans reaction will be if you bring out that thing?
Oh, it's crazy everywhere. I've actually had teams in front of us ask me to stop cheering because I was hurting their heads. It's obscene. Everyone loves it for the first day, and then they all get sick of it.
And then some of them will start doing cheers of their own. Like at a lot of events, especially in past years, we've been kind of the only ones cheering, especially during qualification rounds. So when people see us, like we stand up and then we start yelling our chant, and then other teams are like, oh, we kind of want to do that. So they'll take our format and they'll put their own team numbers into it. And it's kind of nice to see, because you're like, oh, we did that.
And sometimes if the teams are close enough, they'll be like, okay, you guys aren't loud enough. And I'll hand them my megaphone, and I'll be like, I love going up to teams. Like sometimes, like we got knocked out of playoffs in Grand Forks. So I went up to Thunder and I gave them my megaphone, because I was like, you're still in playoffs. We have a good relationship with each other, so you guys can use it. And I love lending the megaphone to other teams just to let them be loud.
Kind of sounded like you guys got into a cheering competition with them at some point during the, if I remember correctly.
In good fun.
I went through every stage of grief on that. Because I was like, so I'd do a chant, they'd do it, or it was one of the vice versa, and then they did it again, and I just stared at them like, what are we doing? And they were laughing at me, so I had to keep going, and it went on for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, we're in pretty good standing with that team, so it was all very sportsmanlike.
Yeah.
But it was just a lot of fun. And I was trying to do it from the driver's station, and my throat was sore at the end, and it was just fun.
I lost half my voice that day just from that alone.
Yeah.
And what about the rest of the season for you guys? What does that look like? Any other major events you're going to in terms of across the area or out of state or anything like that?
Hopefully, we're going to make it to our state competition. Our school has kind of had an issue with scheduling where prom is scheduled the same day as state robotics, so I'm making a stink. But I'm pretty sure we're gonna make it to state, and I'm really happy about that. We do NMRC at the end of the season. I don't know about any off seasons for sure yet, because I'm going to be off for college, but yes.
We typically, our summer schedule Our local town celebration, the robotics team, we're the highlight. The Friday night, we do robot in the street where we actually, we roll out carpet on Main Street and we set up a robotic demonstration, and we've got 3-year-olds to 93-year-olds driving our robot, right in the middle of everything. And so that's kind of a giving back to the community during the summer. And then different types of we'll be participating in programming camp. This summer and spring will be the next phase of the North Star project, which is going on at the Beltrami County Fairgrounds. And so we will be going up and providing labor in the construction of the eventual home for the NMRC practice field. So it's a multi-year, multi-phase project. We're into year 3 and about to break ground on a 60 by 90 foot building to house a field, and then an adjacent building that's slightly smaller for the NMRC trailers, trucks, and all the physical property the conference owns. So 3102 will be running to Bemidji over the summer and helping with the construction of that.
Speaking of those scheduling issues and stuff, it would be nice to make it to Worlds. That would be another thing to go to.
There it is.
But so it turns out that the first day of Worlds is also during my band's large group, because we have almost all of our kids in robotics are also involved in other extracurricular activities, if not some form of something. And I just had to, and it's worth like 200 points on my grade, but she has to excuse it. And I play one of the main parts in this song. And I just had to break the news to her last night. She was not very happy. So it's like, it's also about making sacrifices to get what you need to do. But
yeah, it's all worth it.
Yeah, it is worth it.
And when we get home from New Orleans, Kat has a day or two, and then she's off to State Knowledge Bowl. So the Knowledge Bowl team that she's a part of qualified and will be competing at the state level in Knowledge Bowl. So to add on what Brennan said, our students are very involved, and it's making a big splash.
And if we do make it to Worlds, it goes Bayou, State, Knowledge Bowl, and then Houston. And I will be at school 2 days in the next 3 weeks if we make it to Worlds. So yeah, it's
the people not in state won't get much longer. It's 4 days.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
About half that. It's rough.
It's
but
gonna be a blast.
it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try and jinx you here, but look at the bright side. At least it's on prom and not graduation.
Yes.
Very true.
That is true.
I think I'd have to get my diploma over that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna I own my diploma. I'll be in Louisiana.
And compare, like, I know I received a question one time. What's the difference between going to state in robotics and going to Worlds in robotics? Because I mean, pretty big difference between the two, if I remember correctly.
So, Minnesota is one of the few states, for backstory, that actually recognizes us as like kind of an actual sport and holds a varsity sport. You can earn a varsity letter in it and hold a state tournament. And so there's this big messed up formula, and it's only teams in Minnesota, but this year it takes your 2 best regionals and it puts it in this big formula based on like how you placed at the end of quals, how far you got in playoffs, if you got in there, if you won an award. And the top 36 ranked teams after that formula is over gets to go into state. And it's just a 1 day to prove yourself. Qualification matches and playoffs are all on the same day. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of just like, it's mostly for fun, but it's also probably for bragging rights.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's Worlds, it's like, who's the best team in the world, the best pair. And then for state, it's like, oh, who's the best in Minnesota?
So you get cool hoodies.
You get cool hoodies too. It's kind of different in the way that it's only people from your region. It's not from all over the world, but it's still really hard to get into. We've missed out on it quite a bit.
And it's one field. It's not 8. It's one field.
Yeah, it's one field.
Houston is 8 fields.
But in that though, we are one of the most successful sports teams, I guess. Sports in our region of going to state. We have, I think, in our school. We have the 2nd or 3rd most state appearances out of all of our programs. I think we're beaten by football now and maybe basketball. But other than that, we're doing pretty good for a robotics team. So
that's saying something, because Nevis, pretty successful in a lot of different activities.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're proud of ourselves.
Yeah.
Pat on the back.
Yep.
We are historically good. We Basketball, sorry, I didn't mean to phrase it like that, but we're historically successful in our sports. Basketball, after this year, they've been to state 5 years in a row. And our football team actually won the state championship for 9 men last year.
Yeah,
So,
he was on it. It
Yeah.
was
yeah,
good.
yeah.
It was a blast.
I was on it.
And even down to one act play.
Yeah, and down to one
knowledgeable and I mean it's
And our band is like usually the top band in our region. We've had like a streak of like 12 superior ratings in a row, which is the highest rating you can get. You have to score a 35 out of 40 or higher.
Yeah. So, and I don't think there might be one or two students on a robotics team who is not involved with some other program in the school. We pride ourselves in having a lot of community engagement and school engagement, and we are just very proud of what we've managed to build here. We're just cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that. I am surrounded by incredibly cool people who do incredibly cool things. And I actually transferred to the school in 10th grade. I was not born here. And I can confidently say that we're very cool here. Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. Well, before we get going here today, anything else you guys just want to mention about robotics in general or the season or just you guys over the Techno Tigers, any social media accounts or anything to shout out like that?
We've got an Instagram account and a Facebook account. So if you want to give those a follow, we're
TNT 3102.
We are pretty active there. We post a lot of stuff, match schedules, updates, just fun little things that we do.
Our team website, we have a dedicated group of students who spend time on our team's website. So TNT
3102.org.
.org.
I know all of it.
Yep.
Yep.
Our team is way more than robots. You know, you hear Dean Kamen and First Robotics is it's more than robots, and we live by that. Historically, 60% of our team doesn't touch the robot, doesn't know the front from the back.
It's actually a pretty good split too, because like there are some teams where it's like 3 people are on like the impact team or something, and then everyone else is touching the robot. Whereas it's like
there are teams that don't do impact.
Yeah, there are also teams that don't do impact, and we have like enough people for pit, drive team, and then some, and the rest over on the impact team, just working away at very important behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and Brennan was instrumental. We tackled a new project this year for our First Ladies program, and we have. Well, you should tell them about the flat pack, the balloon cars.
So for backstory, also, so my first 2 years I was on the impact team, and then I swapped over to build team because I wanted to try something different, which is kind of also what we do. When you're set in something, you're not stuck there. Not at all. You can move whenever you want. But so one of the mentors came up to me on the impact team and was like, you know what? You guys should make flat pack balloon cars for First Ladies because we host First Ladies events at, well, I guess every regional we're going to this year. We're holding for both. And so me and one of the people that from Impact that wanted to learn how to run our CNC, we sat down for like 2 weeks straight, just prototyping, finding out what worked and what didn't. And we've made around 100 balloon cars so far in total, just for Grand Forks and then for Bayou. And I'm assuming we'll probably do it for state. And
they did it at week 0.
They did it at week 0.
Yep.
And maybe Worlds, who knows?
Yep.
That'd be fun. But it's just like, it's a lot more than robots.
Yeah.
So I personally haven't touched the robot as much this year because I've been working on other important things like the balloon cars. But it's all worth it, and it's still fun.
We'd be sitting in the shop working on the robot, and then the CNC is running in the background, and it's just brain numbing noise. And we're like, go get him,
Yeah,
Brendan.
it's so loud, it's terrible. And then on that CNC point, we decided to run metal in it for the first time, or aluminum. And so me and Mr. Nedeberg were like, all right, we're gonna tackle this because we need a lighter elevator. So we decided to pocket out some holes, and we had to use WD-40 as coolant. It was so loud. It was greasy. I washed each metal tube like 6 times. And it turned out cool though, but it was an experience.
So yeah.
We make do with what we have.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if there was nothing else, guys, I really appreciate the time here today. And good luck down in Louisiana. I'm sure you guys will represent the NMRC very well. And just good luck the rest of the season as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.